Alright, so what's up? It's your boy Stark OJ, and I'm back with my fourth upload today. I don't know which order these gonna be uploading in, but I'm kind of getting back into the groove of making videos and stuff like that. So, honestly, this is gonna be my honest opinion on Fairy Tail. I haven't done one of these in a while. Like I think my last one was probably when was my last one? Like Gintama, and that's like probably my best doing video on YouTube right now. So hey, I'm happy for any views I get, and I'm kind of glad that a lot of people. No, that's why I used to watch Gintama, but it's is it black? No, it's not black. It's one of those videos. I don't know. I don't remember how many I did, but this is gonna be my take on Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is one of those series that I feel like get a lot of hate, but I would probably make a video on addressing the hate a little bit later, like I did with Boruto. So, all right, so all right. So I'm gonna get into the premise of Fairy Tail. What I really like about the premise of Fairy Tail because it wasn't really necessarily the typical story, typical goal story. It was something that was mainly different. Natsu didn't want to be Dragon King. He didn't want to, the only goal he pretty much had was to find his dragon father, which wasn't really a big ass point until wasn't really a big goal where that he had to drop everything and look for it, and a lot of the arcs was built around him looking for his dragon. I mean, a lot of times the things just played out nicely. So I think the premise of Fairy Tail was just pretty much about a group doing their natural adventure things, and so every adventure has different stuff, and it makes for a better story where the premise is loose, and it makes for a story that can go either way with the way it can go because with certain goal anime, there's always got to be a direct path you have to take. Even if you take detours and stuff like that, there's always a path that is always opened up within these things that is the how you can get to that goal. But with Fairy Tail, it was more or less that this is something that can possibly go anywhere, especially if you give it enough time with guilds and stuff like that. So we might have encounters, invasions and stuff like that. So there were so many things that that can drive a story like that because it's not centered on one thing or becoming one thing. Like I said, it's not really a directly because it's not really something that is necessary, needed to be there. So, like I said, it could just take different routes. That's what I really love about Fairy Tail. Now, with the story, I feel like the story does get a lot of flack, even though I feel like it's not the best written story ever, and I don't think it's like oh my god, it's like the best thing ever. I really enjoyed the story of Fairy Tail. I feel like with all of its faults, it made Fairy Tail a lot more enjoyable. Because the thing is that a lot of people don't really feel like this, and it's not really brought up in other anime. But I feel like the story stayed in its own lane. It wasn't really trying to be Naruto. It wasn't really trying to be another anime. It was only being its own anime, and that's what I really liked about how Mashima built up the story. Every everything that within the story was pretty much great, and it was shifted by a big thing that also led up to another thing, and every single one of the things that happened in the story was pretty much really a lot of people might not give them credit, but you could tell that Mashima really worked hard on this. How do I put it? I might take that comment back. I might take the comment back. But you could tell that Mashima actually really enjoyed writing the series, and you could feel that within each arc and within each character. So that's pretty much just the best, the pretty much. But characters. So let's get into characters. Cat the thing is that when the typical problem with a mangaka is when you have a big cast, it's always super hard to include those cast members in a certain way that makes them stand out in a certain way that makes them feel important. But I feel like Mashima and maybe Oda have both done this on a much larger scale where each character in the series, except like maybe like two or three which aren't really supposed to be important. Well, I'm gonna get on Oda a little bit later because there's a few more, but they're not really important characters in that series. But he makes them feel, makes them really stand out. A lot of them have great character arcs. A lot of them have great moments that induce development. But you trust me, like when I feel like the Elfman fight was one of the fights I least expected out of the series. And Elfman was a character that I really just thought was gonna be a one joke pony. I'm gonna be a man about it. He said, "I'm a real man." She's a real man. And the funny thing about that is that honestly, I thought he was gonna be that, but the it wasn't even just that Elfman fight. Elfman fight versus Barker. Whatchamacallit. The junkie fish dude. I feel bad. Forgot his name. Bacchus. But it was more or less it showed that within like the first this first is it the first? Well, I guess Daybreak. Daybreak could be considered an arc, but the first main arc, which is the Phantom Troop, the Phantom Guild, the Phantom Lord Guild fight, and within we know about him, him and Mira's backstory, all the shit that he was dealing with, and everything that much made him much deeper of a character. And then, like I said, be a man about it, be a man, the man thing, and it became something way much more than his character. And the funny thing about it is it adds on within later series and later stuff in the story. The flashback he had really we really understand why he became that person. And other things about that, Elfman is a character that probably in a lot of series will not get the time of day or writing and stuff like that. They'll stay a background characters and that's what they'll stay. And there's a lot of characters in fairy tale that are so rarely written and so rarely used that it makes the series. It makes like a lot of people who have how would I put it? It makes the series a lot of people who just now starting the series actually enjoy it better than anything, because a lot of people like to hate on fairy tale and there's a lot of slack going around about it. So when they realize that a lot of these characters are really greatly written characters and greatly used characters, they automatically enjoy it. So also to add on to, I feel like each of the characters within this, whether each of the main characters in there have their own little shine moments and have a lot of time to shine. It's just not that one moment that they're pretty much done, and it's just not that one character arc and they're done. They have a chances to grow up upon multiple arcs and multiple timeline, multiple times and multiple instances where they can grow as a character or show their character, which I really enjoy. And it's not really like they're Mashima is forcing the development. Like I said, with me, I always feel like stuff is necessarily needs to feel natural to accomplish something. If it doesn't feel natural, I feel like it's not really accomplishing what it sets out to be. So, arcs. There's a lot of arcs that I really think that are get overlooked because of the story of fairy tale being quote unquote mid. But I feel like there's a lot of arcs that have great moments in them. Like Tenra arc is one of the arcs that a lot of people don't mention, but I think it's one of my favorite arcs. That's in my Tenro is probably one of the lesser mentioned ones between Grand Magic Game, Tartaros, Tower of Heaven, and Alvarez. And Alvarez is always mentioned for bad purposes. But other than that, I feel like I said, Tenro is one of my favorite arcs, and I feel like the reason why because it has so many, it has so much more character moments, and it also led up to introduced some of the some of the biggest characters and bigger factors into later on in the series. So I would give like a full. I would give my take on that arc itself, but within this, there's a lot. Like I said, there's really some really great arcs in Fairy Tail. Even though Endless and it's another arc that I didn't want to mention. The Ice Village arc is pretty good too. Even though like the Endless arc wasn't really all that goodly written, it had a lot of great moments in it. A lot of great stereotypes. Urza versus Urza was a fight that I see nobody post and see nobody enjoyed, but I like both of them. Like I really like how both of them interacted, even though they're the same building being. They have two different ways of thinking and two different ways of feeling, and the reason why that is because how certain things act. Just like within not within a few other characters, like like so. I mean, within that, it's just something that's really amazing. Summary. For me, I feel like Fairy Tail's all like I said, it gets a lot of hate, it gets a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I really enjoy about the series. Like I never the Fairy Tail shows like Fairy Tail are the real reason I got into anime. I didn't really want to sit there and just dissect everything. And I feel like having a story with no excitement or at least not really an enjoyment factor into it is something that automatically will or not pique my curiosity. I feel like honestly the best way to write an anime and manga is feel like you're actually enjoying the manga, actually feel like you're want to be part of the story. And I feel like that's one of the things Fairy Tail accomplished for me. I feel like sitting there watching the episodes, I felt invested in everything that was happening. Even though a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people can go back and say that Fairy Tail is trash because it doesn't have this. I feel like I'm honestly a believer that Fairy Tail really didn't need that. I feel like over expounding yourself and over expositioning every single thing makes certain series less enjoyable, because I feel like if everything needs to be explained and everything is not, and it's done more than actually having character moments and stuff like that actually gets you, like I said, that's why a lot of people like regular shonen anyway, because they like fights and stuff like that. But for me, I feel like like within that, I feel like Mashima utilized, like I said, every character in the series, and a lot of the characters in my series. It's hard to choose because there's so many great characters to even put in my top 5, and I can just do that with one genre only. It's still hard to do that because each character matters. And the story arcs, like I said, with the story arcs, there are really great arcs within Fairy Tail. And there's a lot of stuff that could be expounded upon, and certain stuff that made me enjoy those series even more, because they like I said, they worked hand in hand with each part of my discussion. The story, the premise, the characters, and the arcs. Everything led, like I said, everything built in, tied into each other within each arc. So, this has been Stark OJ with my honest opinion about Fairy Tail. If you like this video, could you leave a thumbs up or leave a comment why you like this video? Even if you did, if you're new here, could you subscribe, help your way out. But also, if you don't like this video, you can leave a comment why you don't like it. Feel free to say that Fairy Tail is made in my comments all you want to. I mean, honestly, I really not phased by it by now. So, you can still leave a like, and you still can subscribe. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, dog. This has been Stark OJ. Peace. OJ. Peace.